Thank you for joining. Thank you for making out time today, the first day of a new week, to be part of what we are doing. Not resting. We are thinking of what we need to do for our nation and how we're going to get our people liberated by how we reason, from the point of how we reason to the point of freedom. I want to welcome you to this program right now, wherever you're watching from. This is Biafra Global Network. My name is Kelechi Ambrose. Thank you for joining. Today, Sunday, the 10th day of September 2023. 1 minute. I want to thank you all. I know that some of you will be wondering, you'll be thinking, and you'll be wondering, has it got to say today again? These people who are always coming online, and telling us the things that make us that we don't agree to, especially those of you who are human praisers, who praise people and who want to always, dance around what people are doing, and you always want to be around those who are making you excited rather than those who are doing the real thing, or those who are on the path of truth. One interesting thing about Biafrans is that we like being around people who make us excited. We get excited about everything because we think that everything we do or whatever we do should excite us or to entertain us. And so we think that it's all about being entertained rather than understanding why a thing is. Understanding why a thing is very critical, because you must come to terms with identifying with purpose. And unless you don't understand, you would end up messing around the reason why that thing is. You would end up being taken for granted or trivializing the reason why that particular thing is. Today we're going to be discussing evidently, because I want to discuss a particular I want to discuss with us, or talk with us about a particular discussion between one member of a member of a fellow comrade under the Accountability and Transparency Group, Evangelist Barbara. Of course, you guys know her, and of course, if you have not been following her platform and her broadcast, the exposition she has been doing, you can go to Ngozi Chukwu, that's on Facebook, and of course on Twitter. You will get to see the expositions she's making, exposing and playing the evidences, the audio evidences of the criminals in Biafra Project, using Biafra Project as a front or as a cover for their criminality. Where people decide to put the monies of a nation in an account of an individual, where they tell you they're telling you some stuff, and they tell you it's propaganda, and what we hear is propaganda. It's a very interesting discussion they had. Anyways, I'm privy to that discussion. I'm going to tell you some stuff. Maybe as time goes on, I'll just give you some briefs, today, of that particular discussion. Now, a member of Simon's advisory board, one of those elderly men who should always know the right thing, who should stand up for the truth, people who experienced Biafra war, who should be saying the truth and standing on the path of truth, just because of title or just because of position, just because they want to be relevant, just because they want to, feel, they have, this is what they dream of. It's like, wow, I am sitting in a position called advisory board, under Biafra, under a nation. People who see position as, and they can do anything to get position. And this particular man, he was the one who, when I stood against the currency thing, when I said that when I exposed the fact that they want to put their faces on the currency, including my face, when I exposed that fact, he was the one who removed my name from the platform of the advisory board, of the Simon Ekpa's crew team. He was the one who actually removed my name when I decided. I said, no, this is wrong. We cannot put the face of Azuka, Simon, Ngozi Orabweze, and all of that, and even my face on the Biafra currency, you know. And he quickly, in less than 24 hours, he removed my name, or about 24 hours, he removed my name from the advisory board WhatsApp platform. And I was asking him a question. Then I said, I have everything. I refused to, I just kept it, waiting for the day it's going to be very, very relevant. I asked him, I said, why did you remove me from the advisory board? Because I knew they were going to remove me, because I know they are psychopaths. So I know him very well, the man himself. I've dealt with him, I've had experience, I've seen his attitude, during when he was before he decided to leave the Eastern think tank group that created or developed the proposed constitution, and of course the code of conduct and the national pledge that we proposed, waiting for Mazen, and then it can be launched, only for Simon to just and post the code of conduct without the approval of Mazen Namdekano. Thank you so much, my sister. I appreciate you, Ego. Good to have you, my comrade. Thank you for joining. And he was actually working with us on that platform before he felt that he was not being, because he's somebody who likes title. He's somebody who likes to be recognized. When he comes, everybody will say, wow, this person is here and that person is here. And so when he was not being given that leverage, and when he saw that everybody was operating on the level playing ground, nobody is being portrayed as the Oga here. And he felt that people were respecting one person, people were just according the regard, not just because he's the leader, but because he's the one who initiated that group, spoke with Simon about it, and then the group was instituted. That is Pastor Livingstone and all of that. And then he now began to have issues. He decided to leave and I called him several times. I said, sir, that is I'm talking about Mr. Emmanuel now, Mr. Emma. Yes, he's a show-off person. I called him several times. I said, why did you leave the Eastern think tank group? He said, well, and that he doesn't like the way things are, when some people are trying to override some other people and all of that. And I looked at it. Nobody was doing all of that in that group then. Eastern think tank group, the group that created the created the prospect, the prospective constitution, and of course the think tank group was established for that purpose, developmental programs and all of that, which Simon came online and denied, and of course huge, which he is part of also. Now, when I saw that ego in him, and of course several times he had been looking forward to meeting. He has been pressing to reach out to Simon. Pressing to reach out to Simon. He wants to reach out to Simon. He wants to, he had to go through Evangelist Barbara and all of that to get the number of Simon. In fact, he's someone who worships Simon. And at his age, I begin to wonder, what is this elderly man looking for? But of course, people want to, there are some people who are driven by, once they see an opportunity to be given a position where everybody will be calling them sir, and everybody will be looking at them and saying, wow, these are the people who are leading us. Their ego will be, this peacock spirit will come in. There are people who are moved by such kinds of things. We are not moved by all those kinds of things. And so he was the one who removed my name from the WhatsApp platform of the advisory board, simply because I said that I am against putting the faces of anybody in this level on the currency of Biafra. That was all. That was all. I have committed an offense. And I asked him, I said, why did you remove my name? He said, before they put my name, they didn't consult me. So why would they consult me before removing my name? I said, oh, is that your defense? In the first place, before my name was put there, I was called. I was told that I am needed. My service is needed on this platform because they know I have what it takes. And when I came in, I was elected the secretary. They know I have what it takes. They know I have the ideas. They know I have the capacity. They know everything. So they spoke with me. Simon spoke with me. Ngozi Orabweze spoke with me before I was put on that advisory board. So now you are telling me that I was not consulted before my name was put there, but now so I will not be consulted before my name was removed. And when he said that thing, I called him. I said, no, I think, yes, I think I called, whether I called him before he said that, no. Okay, yes, when I called him, it was when he said that. And when I sent him a message, he didn't respond. So I called him. He now said, because I first called Simon. Simon responded. He said he's busy. He's in a program or something. And I called him. I said, why did you remove my name from the advisory board? I want to see the reason he's going to give. And he said that before my name was put there, it was the agreement of the body. I said, when did the body, when was it constituted? When did everybody come together and agree to remove my name? And I called a meeting for that purpose, and I was not in that meeting. How? When? He said, well, they shouldn't consult me to remove my name because they didn't consult me to put my name. I said, okay, so you didn't consult me, and so you have to remove my name. Okay, what is the reason behind removing my name? He said, well, he's going to go back to ask the board why, to give him the reason why my name was removed. And I said in my heart, at your age, 70-something years, I believe, you remove somebody's name from a group that is as high as Biafra Advisory Board, based on what we were made to believe. You remove somebody's name, and you didn't ask why you are removing the person's name, or you didn't ask the group, you just removed the name. And you call yourself a professional. You live in a country, Switzerland, where you are a professional. You say you have attained this position, you have sat on this board, you have sat on that board, you have done this, you have done that. You could remove somebody's name from a group, from a committee, without consulting the person. That you didn't consult the person, the group didn't consult the person does not know about it. The group, even you don't even know why the group removed the person's name, and you're telling me you want to go back to ask them. I said, okay, go and ask them. When you're ready, when you're finished, please tell me. After 2 days, he was not responding. I now sent him a message. I said, please, you have not told me about the reason. I believe, because I know that normally by meetings would have been held, because the way we hold meetings. I said, you have not told me yet. He didn't respond. And I told him, I said, you must tell me the reason, or I will expose you to Biafrans. You must tell me the reason why you removed me from the advisory board. Anyways, I know the reason, because I stood against, just barely 24 hours, I stood against the issue of their faces on the currency, including them telling me they were going to put my face just to, maybe that is bribery. Of course, they'll just try to bribe you into agreeing. I said, no, you can't put anybody's face here. We have great people that have worked for Biafra who are dead, Ojukwu and other people, and lots of them like that. Ojukwu, of course, was proposed to be put, and other people who have worked and who are dead. Go to the currency of other nations, you'll see the kinds of people. Not any miscreant who just shows up and opportunists. You want to put your face on Biafra currency. I see it as an opportunist adventure. And that was how he removed my name. Now, yesterday, also, he called Evangelist Barbara, and his concern about the whole thing, about his discussion with her, because I know him, he would have told the advisory board, I know how he behaves. Whenever there's an issue that everybody wants to deal with, he'll say, leave it to me, I know how to handle it. Don't worry, I'm going to handle it. Because he likes show off. He's somebody who likes to show off. So I know how the discussion would have gone, and I know he had told everybody on that platform, oh, okay, she's talking about Simon and Azuka. Don't worry, I know I'm close to her. I'm going to talk to her. Don't worry, I'll just leave that matter. I'm going to handle it. I'm going to talk to her. I know him very well. And so that was how he would have decided to speak, advisory board of their pockets and for the maintenance of their egos. Yes, that's it. And all the things they do is for their selfish and personal interest. Now, their conversation is a proof of what you have just said now, Ego. Selfish interest and personal interest. Now, the conversation, maybe one of these days, I'm going to just come out and take the conversation one after the other and talk about it, because this, we need to begin to expose. Now, he was trying to make it, of course, giving an impression that he was there during the war and all of that, and he was saying some stuff in that conversation, saying some stuff about the war and all of that. And I begin to wonder, somebody who has experienced war, who has experienced what Biafrans have gone through, and who has experienced all of this stuff, who should be dedicated now to see that we enthrone the truth. Now, Evangelist Barbara was telling him critically something. Evangelist Barbara said, come, you want me to lie when the things I'm saying are true? He said, whether they are true or not, that's not the issue. The issue is that when you talk against Simon and Azuka, you are going to bring down the struggle. And I began to get worried, about the issue of the definition of struggle. Anyways, struggle can be defined in so many ways, because the way he was insisting on struggle, I discovered that truly what they are in, or what they are in for, or what they are into, is struggle. Struggling to take position, struggling to have everything to themselves, struggling to make sure that they are in control of the resources. Control. It's not a struggle for freedom. Struggle for selfish ambition. Struggle for self-aggrandizement. Struggle to show themselves. That's what they're doing. In spite of what Evangelist Barbara was saying, telling him about the evidences, which she was even at the point was stammering about, when she asked him and said, "Are you saying that Simon is doing the right thing?" At a point, he couldn't be steady on that matter. The next thing he said was, after a while, was that he might not be doing everything right. Even Mazi Nnamdi Kanu too was not doing everything right. And I don't know the comparison here. We're not talking about anybody doing anything right or whether doing anything right. But the truth about it is that whenever you are on the wrong path, you are doing everything wrong. That's you can't take that. You can't take that from truth. Once you are on the wrong path, no matter what you do, you are doing everything wrong. Now, one critical thing he used as an argument was when he introduced the concept of propaganda. And this is what I want to talk about in this particular broadcast. Some other times, I'm going to go and analyze several things that he has said and most of the things he said. What he said. Now, my brother Daniel, don't worry about those who are showing whatever they are showing. They're telling you they are donating. There are some of those things that are staged so that it will stir up some other people, say, wow, people still believe in this. And we're going to come do it. So leave all those stuff and whatever receipt and whatever it is, leave all those and don't get distracted by such stuff. The fact here is that we must keep exposing them. And I want to encourage Evangelist Barbara. I keep on with the work you're doing, exposing, playing the audios, playing out all the atrocities. I have some of them. I've not started playing yet. When my time will come, because you know me, I have lots of things to say at a particular time. So most times I don't really have that much, because sometimes I just want to dwell, because I know that people like Evangelist Barbara would be exposing and playing those things. So sometimes I want to dwell in teaching some, giving some kind of teaching to the people as much as she is exposing. And maybe, of course, I will also join in that chorus and see how I'm going to be exposing and playing out these things, because it is very, very important for people to be able to see all of this stuff and understand what is happening, and of course to be able to embrace the truth at all times. The only thing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said we need is the truth, and nothing but the truth. The truth. And when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said it is only the truth that will liberate us, I wonder why somebody like that elderly man called Mr. Ima would tell somebody who is speaking the truth and saying, don't be saying them. When you say these things, they will hurt the struggle. What is struggle in their definition? 2, what is hurting struggle when you are talking about the truth? How can truth hurt something that is supposed to achieve truth? It's not possible. So, which means that if you are speaking the truth and it is hurting something, then that thing that is being hurt is lies. Because truth does not hurt truth. Positive plus positive is equal to positive. Am I correct? Truth will eradicate lies and cause the path to be straight. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said that truth will give us Biafra, and whenever we delve away from truth, we are going to struggle and have this circumnavigation, or moving around in circles. That was a clear definition and a clear-cut explanation, information, instruction that whatever we do, it must be of truth. Whatever we do, it must be of truth. So when I am saying something that is truthful, which I have seen as lies, manipulating the people, stealing the resources of the people, putting the monies of Biafrans in a woman's husband's account, Azuka's husband's account, and the ones they are contributing in Nigeria in Azuka's account, which she uses one chichi in Nigeria to front. If what Evangelist Barbara is saying is the truth, Why are you afraid of her saying the truth and saying that the truth will hurt the struggle? If the struggle you are looking for is of truth and of liberation, then why are you afraid of the truth that a comrade is talking about? Why? I wish I can engage these people in a debate. I wish Simon and his rogue team would just sit. I don't want to bother my other comrades. Just me alone, Simon, Azuka, Ima, all of them, because you're boys, all of them, let them sit on a panel. All of them on that advisory board. I alone will face them. You can't defeat truth. It's not possible. One or two questions I will ask, and they will stammer away and they will get frustrated. In fact, they will just decide to close the program with anger. Because you know why? They would not be able to defend it. And all they would need to do is to create a situation of anger and then walk away. Just like Simon did one of the times. One Yoruba man was asking me a question on what's that guy's program? Dr. Damages also. When the guy was beginning to prepare his question, you know that the guy wants to go to a critical thing. The next thing he said, you should speak like a Nigerian so I can follow you. The guy, allow him ask his questions. Are you the one to tell him how to speak? Are you the one to tell? Is he the one telling you not to speak for now? If you don't know how to speak for now, why are you bothered about somebody else speak for now? Just listen to what he wants to say and respond to him critically. That's what we do. Whenever you bring a point here, I respond to you critically. And I respond to you. I don't even block you unless when you begin to insult people. That's why when I block, I respond to you. I give you answer. You know why? Because I know I have answers to your stupidity. As long as stupidity is concerned, there's always a cure to it. And the cure is in truth. And if I'm standing on the truth, it means I have the cure to your stupidity. It's as simple as that. This man was critically talking about, don't talk about Simon, just keep. And then he now spoke about propaganda. When Evangelist Biafra started pointing out the fact and said, this thing is being said and this thing is costing the lives of our people. This thing has been said, these things were said, and talking about this, talking about that, talking about the whole stuff and all of this stuff and all of that, and this thing you said here that is making the Nigeria contraption kill our people. Our people are being killed and brutally brutalized and all of that. And of course, deceiving our people and making them feel. And when you steal their monies, you give them stories and bring out some stuff and you tell them lies. And you told them you're going to bring Biafra, you never brought it, and all of that. You told them there will be no election, and of course, the election held. Lies upon lies. Why shouldn't I expose them? Then the man now went on the issue of propaganda. Now, let me tell you something. You see, propaganda is a weapon, but it is also, there's a thin line between propaganda and manipulation. There's a thin line between propaganda and manipulation, because I want people to think critically. There is a thin line between manipulation and propaganda. And that thin line is what people capitalize on by making people think that they're actually carrying out a program of propaganda. Now, you don't need propaganda when your people's lives are not at stake. Now, let me make this clear to you. You see, he made mention of Okokondem. And of course, Okokondem is one of those people in those times who actually created propaganda. At the time it is needed, based on the fact that at that point in time, a war that was not prepared for came about. And that war was killing the people. And the people needed to be boosted to fight it because the war came to them. The war was already there. The war was already there. So he needed to create some kind of impression to frighten the enemies, because the enemies have already been told that these people are formidable. The enemies know we're formidable. And that propaganda was able to get Biafra for 3.5 years holding on to that war. The only thing that could stop them from succeeding and winning was because there was this air blockade, sea blockade, and land blockade when people were starving and hungry. When people were starving and hungry, Biafra was not defeated. Now, Okongondem was making the people see and speaking about how many of the enemies were killed. Okongondem was making Biafrans believe that lots of the enemies were being killed. They were being killed quite all right, but he was boosting it and increasing it. And one funny thing that this man said, to Evangelist Barbara was that even when ESM was being created, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu lied and used it as propaganda, said they are 10,000, whereas they were not up to 1,000. And that's why I said there is a thin line between propaganda and manipulation. You see, when people want to deceive people, they tend to use a narrative that is close to, or that can be used as manipulative or disguised as if it is truth. Now, when Jesus said something, he said, even the false prophets will come and they will give you signs. And because of the signs they are going to display, you might even be misled, to be deceived. Go to Matthew 24, you'll see that. Jesus was talking about signs. Jesus himself is a sign. Yet the false prophets also come with signs. Jesus performed signs and wonders. The false prophets also come, including Antichrist, who is going to come later, performs signs and wonders. Now, if signs are evident from the point of view of truth, and signs are evident from the point of view of lies, and these things look similar, it simply means that you need that to understand the thin line to be able to decipher between the signs that come from manipulation and the signs that are actually meant to portray the truth and to deal with your enemies. Now, let me give you a sign. Let me give you a particular narrative here. In the book of Kings, I think it should be 2 Kings or so, the scripture tells us a story of, 3 lepers or so. I don't know how many of you can remember that story. 3 lepers who took a daring move and went into the camp of the Assyrians. Now, the Israelites have been, these Israelites, let me call it the way it was being called then. The Israelites had been held, siege for months, even years. They were hungry, they were dying. In fact, they were even beginning to kill their children. There was a particular narrative of a particular woman who agreed with the neighbor, I'll kill my child, we'll eat my child, and then tomorrow we'll kill your child and we'll eat the child. And she killed her own child and they ate. Ahab was the king then, I think so. Yes, Ahab was the king. Elijah was there. And the next time, it was time for them to eat the other woman's child. And the woman went to hide the child. And the other one was grieved. Why? We agreed we're going to kill. And she took the matter to the king. The king was angry and tore his clothes. And the king said, for this thing, by this time, if I don't get Elijah's head, if his head does not leave his body, then I'm not the king. That was how the narrative went. And then God revealed to Elijah, your head, they are coming for your head. And Elijah now told the people he was sitting with, he said, please, the king has sent someone. He's coming now. They want to cut off my head. And please, when they come, tell them, I've forgotten whether he told them whether to tell them that he's not in or something like that. And also, I can't remember what he really told them to tell them. I can't remember now. It's a long time I read that particular story, And then suddenly, the servant, the one whom the king also, has his weapons with and lean on and all of that, came, who was the messenger of the king, came and said he's looking for Elijah. The king Ahab had already sent him to come and kill him. Is it Ahab also? I can't remember now whether it's Ahab. I can't remember the king that was in charge then. And then when he came, Elijah now said to him, he said, as Elijah was speaking, the man came. Elijah said to him that by this time tomorrow, there will be abundance in Israel. Wheat will be sold very cheap. And, he mentioned some stuff and all of that. And by measurements, they will be sold very cheap. Cheaper than what it was that particular day. Within 24 hours, to be cheaper. And the man said, if this happens, then even if God opens doors of heaven, is this possible? And Elijah said to him, you will see it with your eyes and you will not eat it. Some of you know that story anyways. Let me go further to what I want to point out from that story. Now, when the day came for the manifestation of that miracle, just like the day God had told, just like what God had told Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that Biafra will be free by truth. Remember, the instruction is, tell the people it is truth that will give them Biafra. Get this. The fact here is you will be free. But to be free, it must be by truth, which means that it is possible you will not be free if you don't patronize truth. That's what it means. So even if you have been promised the promise or given the promise, if you don't adhere to the instruction, you will not get the promise. So the promise is subject to the instruction. That means if we're going to get our freedom as Biafrans, we need truth. That's what he's saying, right? Now, Elijah tells that man that there will be abundance. And the next day, God now stirs up an activity that would bring about such manifestation of the promise, which means that for that thing to happen, something must happen for that thing that Elijah prophesied to happen. Suddenly, 3 lepers who were, of course, those days, when people who were lepers were cast outside the gates, they were sent outside the gates. So they always function around outside the gates and all of that. They were not allowed amongst the people because of the leprous nature and all of that. Uh, and so and then these lepers were stranded. Everybody in the city in Israel is hungry. We at the gate, we are hungry, and if we don't see something to eat, we are going to die. So since death is the thing that we cannot escape, and we know that the Assyrians who have laid siege on Israel are having enough food, why not we go to their camp? If they give us food, we eat. If they kill us, we die. Because even if we remain here, we will still die. So the best thing is for us to go to over there. Death awaits us either ways, whether we are here or we go to their camp. So let's go there and die or eat. That was daring. That was a decisive move to take the risk for what they want. Now, which means that whenever you want to take an action and understand the basis of what you want to achieve, there's a need for self to be dead, and for that purpose you want to achieve to take preeminence, or else you are going to work against what you claim you are going for. That's the truth. Now, they knew that it will cost them their lives going to the camp of the Assyrians, but they know that what they want to get can come to them by courage, but it might cost them their lives if they go, and they might not get it. So what they did was they decided to go to the camp of the enemies. And let me tell you what happened. As they were going and as they approached the camp, you know what God did? Because God had spoken through the prophet, and because they were courageous. Now remember in the book of Joshua chapter 1 verse 8, God told Joshua, he said, be strong and of good courage, be not afraid and be not dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. That means for what you want to achieve, you have to be strong, 1. 2, that means talking about your will. 2, of courage, your will. Strength and courage, your will. And don't allow fear, because fear is what weakens courage and strength. And being dismayed is an explanation that comes from viewing the circumstance and the situation around that causes dismay to weaken strength and weaken courage. So these two you must escape from, so that you will be able to become strong and become courageous. And that was what the lepers exuded. That is what we are exuding, we that are speaking the truth right now. The only way we're going to conquer, just like Daniel said here, just few people will make the result, will give results. And all we need to do is to come out and speak the truth. Just like Evangelist Barbara is speaking, and they are now beginning to send agents to go and talk to her to stop talking. You can't stop someone speaking the truth because you are afraid of being exposed. If you know what this person is saying is true and it really happened, why do you want to silence them if it's going to help the struggle? If what the person is saying is true and what you are looking for is going to come by truth, why are you now saying that what the person is saying, which is true, will hurt what you think you want to achieve, if what you want to achieve is actually on the path of truth? Because there's no way truth can hurt truth. Truth rather complements truth to achieve destination or result. That's what it does. So what happened? Let me go back to the story. As the lepers were approaching the camp of the Assyrians, you know what God did? God caused their footsteps to sound like a chariot. That is real propaganda, but a miraculous propaganda that would give victory to the people, not a propaganda that will destroy the people, but propaganda that will put the people on the path of victory, just like what Okuku and them did. Now let me tell you something. God made the footsteps of these men, these lepers, to sound like it was a mighty military, like a mighty chariot coming. And the Assyrians heard it. They said, wow, the Israelis have gone to hire the Egyptian chariots to come against us. We have to run out of this. The DOS man has come. This DOS man called Delca Ethos. Yeah, the DOS man has come. I was talking about the DOS man to my sister Ego yesterday. DOS man has come. He's talking about DOS. I don't know why these people are like being deceived. Now, I want to make you understand what real propaganda does. Now, you see, the Assyrians were hearing a mighty. Let me get my stuff. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, please. Now, the Assyrians were hearing a mighty Russian militia or soldiers coming. They were hearing the sound, but the people who were coming were just 3 lepers. But what the Assyrians were hearing were the sound of a mighty army, and then the Egyptians were very strong. So the Assyrians felt it was the Egyptian army coming. Now, if you want to look at that as propaganda, then let's look at how propaganda works from that narrative. Propaganda helps boost the morale and helps secure the people you are fighting for, but causes harm to the enemies. But where what you call propaganda steals resources from the people, gives the people promises that will not be kept, and now you pretend it is going to actually keep the enemies afraid. Now, let me tell you something. Let me make it very simple here. Is it this nonsense you are talking about that you call propaganda, where you tell the people that you have bought arms and you are ready to stop the election? You have bought everything ready for the election, to stop the election, and whereas you don't have anything? Is that what will scare Britain or Fulani? Because Fulani have been well coached by Britain, and they know how you behave. They know that you always tell lies, but they will always use that lies against you. They know you would always brag by your attitude and your actions, because you talk too much. They know you brag, and they know why you are bragging is to get your people excited and steal from them more. They know all of that. So when you come with your pictures and all of that, just like they have seen examples, they have seen all you have said. They heard when you spoke on the 7th of November that there will be no lifting of oil again in Biafra land. They heard when you spoke about that in July last year, and you spoke about that in 2001, 2002. You were saying so many things. They understood all of this stuff. They know that you keep saying things that you are not doing. They heard when you said you were going to buy surface-to-air missiles to blow up any aircraft coming to Biafra land. They know all of this stuff. And so they know. Now, Delta Ectos, so you want to tell me that the reason why you are here as an IPOB person is because of Chike Doziem and Chinasa Awori? You are daft. For you to even say that without them, there's no IPOB, then that means there's no indigenous people of Biafra without a few people, Chinasa Awori and stuff. What do you even... I don't understand it. Well, let me not go that way. I may go handle that person, please. Let me just continue the broadcast before you get me off what I'm thinking here. Now, is it they knew when you said you're going to any helicopter that enters into Biafra land, you're going to blow it down? You never did it. They have heard so many lies, so they know you are a liar. They know what you are doing is to excite your people. That was why Azuka would come to the 1,000 man platform and tell them each person he needs 10 people who will give a $50,000 every month for the next few months to the election, and then they will stop the election. That everything is ready. They just want to buy other few things. And Simon granted interview and said everything has been put in place, including several times he made broadcasts and said everything is now in place to stop election in Biafra land. And they saw how you sat in Finland just doing propaganda, false propaganda, manipulate. They know that to make your people believe that you have done what you promised them. You were not, because they were experiencing the election, they were conducting the election. So whatever you are saying online is actually meant to if I can reconnect. Okay, I've reconnected, right? I think I've reconnected because the network went totally off. I think I've reconnected now. So, okay, so I think I am back now. But please let me refresh to see if I can get back the message column running, or let me see if I can click on it and get it. Please send me a message. I think I need to refresh. Let me refresh so that I can get back. Work. I think I'm back now. Please, someone let me know if I'm back. Please send me a message to be sure. Ouch, this thing is not clear. Why? Why the camera is not clear? What's going on? Please send me a message. Please, am I coming out clear? Lord, I'm seeing myself very bloody. I had to change network. Please check for me. Okay. Okay, it has become bright. Okay, it's clear there, right? It has become bright here. I just, yeah. So thank you so much, Ego, for that. I'm using the network now that always messes me sometimes. That takes me off and on and off and on. I had to use it. Maybe the other one is the data is finished or something. You know, I don't want to. I can't check it right now because I have to. Now let's go back and let's go to what we were saying, because it is very, very important that we look at these things, critically. We're looking at propaganda, right? And somebody, a man who should know, who calls himself an intellectual and an academician. Let me just say it that way. He has worked here, he has been on this board, and they like bragging, they like telling you so many things to boost their egos. Sometimes people say, why do you talk this way? Yes, I have to speak this way because sometimes you begin to wonder how people can, because of selfish desires, want to frustrate the freedom of millions of people, over 120 million people, over the nations of the world, all over the world. Some people want to frustrate millions of people because of what they desire, because of what they want to achieve. We can't sit by and watch you. We can't sit by and watch you mess the destinies of our people. Let me personalize it. My destiny, the destiny of my future generation, and all of that. I don't know about you because I believe you also understand that anybody who is messing with freedom right now or talking against your freedom right now is talking against your freedom, the freedom of your future generation, the freedom of your destiny and everything. Things about you. Do you know what I will be achieving if I'm in Biafra land right now? Because I will be in my land, I will settle. And with God, what God has given to me, and with the knowledge God has given to me, I can create huge, successful business in Biafra land that people will benefit from. Did you know what I would have achieved? Did you know what you would have achieved if you were in Biafra land? Because the kind of struggle you struggle outside your land, you will not struggle it in your land. Because you know why? In your land, it is your land. Outside your land, you have to struggle with identity first. Struggle to, give yourself a legal person to be identified. And whatever they will give to you out there will be something less than what you're worth. Because they know you are coming from the place, and they give the nice jobs to the other people who are their people, the best kinds of jobs to their people. And maybe some few of you who have some kind of intelligence that they think they need, they just give you one position, but you can never be taken and regarded as they regard their own, because their own is in their land and is their own. You that is coming from outside, you are never their own, you are only a stranger, and they will treat you that way. And especially when in your own land, you allow your land to be desolate, you allow your land to be wasted, and you are coming to make yourself feel relevant and important in their lands. In their lands, they will treat you, in fact, they will kill you at every given opportunity, because they feel that, look at these idiots. You want to be important in our land? Why not go to your land to be important? So, now talking about propaganda. Did you know? I want to use that analogy from the scripture, from the Bible, to open your eyes to what propaganda should do for your people. When those men were walking, did you know what God did? God converted their footsteps to the sound of a mighty army. It was not meant to scare the leopard and what do they call them now? What do we call them? What are those people now? I was saying leopards. Leopard is an animal. What do you call these people who are? I've forgotten the word for it. Please, can somebody remind me? It was not meant to frustrate or to confuse those people. I think they're leopards, right? Are they leopards? What do you call it? Leopards. Okay, not leopard. Okay, leopard is an animal. Leopard, sorry, can you imagine? It was not meant to confuse the lepers. Can you imagine? Sometimes we talk and forget some stuff. It was not that sound that God converted from their footsteps was not meant to confuse them or confuse Israel, but it was meant to give them access to the enemies and confuse the enemies to walk away on their behalf. For them, sorry, not on their behalf, to walk away and run away from them and to scare the enemies so that they would benefit. When your propaganda kill your people rather than scare the enemies, when your propaganda attracts the enemy to kill your people and puts them in perpetual hardship, you are wicked, you are a manipulator, you are evil. Look, please help me look at the propaganda God played. Let's look at things and let's use that word propaganda. The thin line between propaganda and manipulation is the fact that you have made the people feel that propaganda, whatever way it goes, will always hurt whomever it will hurt, but you don't want to give a clear definition of who should be hurt with your propaganda. Biafra was already at war when Okogondem was carrying out propaganda. And most of the things Okogondem said stirred up the spirit of the fighters and made some people not die on time. They were already at war, remember? So it was not as if what he was saying, he was trying to stop war. But this time around, we're not at war. Even if we know that there's a kind of silent war going on in Biafra land, killing and all of that. What you should have done is you strategically make sure that you position the things very rightly, that even if you are telling them about you having the whole weapons, what you have will be able to protect the people if they are attacked. And not having anything to protect the people, yet you create a scenario that you have everything and they could still penetrate to kill your people more because of what you are saying. That is evil. In the first place, you collect the resources from the people and make them believe that you have bought everything to protect them. You now go online, tell the enemies that you have everything, whereas you have told your people also that everything, and then you're telling the enemies that you have everything and more. And then the enemies think that you have everything and more. The enemies come and your people cannot be defended. Look at those checkpoints being burnt now. When the military come to those places, they begin to pick boys around there. The people who burnt those vehicles and killed those areas in the checkpoints are no more there. They are nowhere to be found. The people in those places, in those communities suffer. Do you call that propaganda? That's evil. So if you want to talk about propaganda, don't come with deceit. Propaganda is not an evil agenda. It is an agenda to scare the enemies, at the same time to secure your people. When your propaganda does not secure your people, but rather put your people in harm's way, you are evil. And those Biafrans who don't understand what propaganda is, look at that man, that elderly man talking about propaganda, mentioning Okogondem. How can you marry these two situations? Look at what God did. Look at the propaganda. The footsteps of these men coming to the camp of the Assyrians caused the Assyrians to flee with fear, leaving things for them to pick and carry. And before you know it, Israel received abundance within 24 hours, just like the prophet said, there was abundance. Because when they went back, they took enough and went to hide. They said, no, we can't be alone. It's not greedy. We're not greedy people. Our people too need to eat. They are dying. How can you talk about propaganda and you are stealing from the people who are hungry? Your people who are hungry, you are stealing from them. You are deceiving them, telling them you have used what you took from them to buy weapons to protect them. And then you go to stir the enemies to come and attack them. And then when the enemies come, you are nowhere to be found. The weapons you talk about are nowhere to save them and to help them. And then the people are still in abject poverty, suffering, more suffering and deaths. Look at what happened. The three lepers were not stingy. When God used their footsteps as propaganda, they used it as a means of enriching their people. They went back to get the people to come back to plunder the camp of the enemies. That's what happened. That's what happened. That's what happened. But you tell the people that you are collecting the monies from them to buy weapons to stop an election. You collect the monies. You tell them you have bought all the things you need. You have all the weapons. the people are excited, believing that you're going to stop the elections. Most of the people start back at home. The few who came out to vote, if you had planned to stop the election, your men would have caused them to go back, because the actions you would have carried that day would have made sure no one person comes out. And then you said the people should go away from the streets because you have the men with the weapons you have bought to engage the military, the zoo military. Yet nobody saw one of the men you said were having the weapons you said you have bought to engage the military on the day of the election. The election was held free. The people who went out to vote went out to vote. In fact, later people started coming out because they saw that you actually lied to them. All over Biafra land right now, we know people are saying that man is a liar, that man is a criminal. People and all over about what is happening on social media. They have a group of people on social media who are just propagandists, evil propagandists. Now, just like Ego have said, if those monies have been contributed, and maybe you said you now tell us, I said, please, sorry, I didn't actually use these monies to buy weapons. I felt that the best thing we need to do now is to empower you. So we are building this thing and this that in our communities to make sure we have abundance. So maybe later we're going to also, from then, when you have enough to eat, then later we're going to have to begin to buy weapons from what you're contributing. So look at what we're doing. Look at the business we're doing here. Look at what we're doing here. Look at that we're doing here. We are making sure that we are setting the economic face of our land to meet up with the demands of our people. And then from then we can now begin to talk about other things, how we can go about how we're going to be free. But for now, let these monies, I think that's the good idea, that's the best idea for us now. Let these monies be converted to economic development and all of that, so that people can have enough. Our men who are running around and wasting should have something to do. We want to engage you with the resources now. Good, we have good resources coming from you. Now we want to convert these resources that every local government has something at least that will employ people around there. You will see how Biafrans will be bringing more. You will see contributions coming from everywhere. But rather, you collect the monies, you tell them you want to buy weapons, you put the monies in one of your allies' accounts, the husband to Azuka. The money is in the account. Then the account in Nigeria, which belongs to the woman herself, whose husband's account is being used to take the monies from all over the world. And then the one that is coming from Biafra land is going directly into your account, which one person called Chichi is managing in Biafra land for you. And then the monies are directed to private accounts. And then only you and this group of people are aware of how you're spending. Even the advisory board, did you know that was the time we were talking about Azuka giving us account? I'm talking about in January. Somebody raised that motion. Let me think who raised that motion. Okay, forget about who raised that motion. And then Gozara Boise said, let's not look at that, because if you want to do that, it will start causing controversies. So let's just focus. Let's just keep raising money, just keep giving money. Because she knows she's working for Nigeria. They are working against Biafra projects. So they know that even if the money is being stolen, as long as he keeps doing the bidding of Nigeria, refusing to stop the election, refusing to do the things they're supposed to do, and all of this stuff, it doesn't matter. Let them keep stealing the money. She said, let's not go there, because if you tell them to give us account now, if you tell Azuka give us account now, it will cause a problem. She will not be able to give account. She said it with her mouth on the advisory board, the same board where this man is coming now to tell Evangelist Barbara not to talk about the criminality going on, not to play the audios, not to talk about them, not to talk about Simon, not to talk about Azuka. She was mentioning the criminalities. The man was saying, okay, it doesn't matter anyways, and whether they have done evil or not, that's not the issue. You are going to destroy the struggle. Which struggle? The question now people should ask them, what is the definition of struggle in this matter? Because if struggle is about freedom, freedom is a product of truth, which means that speaking the truth, and Evangelist Barbara speaking the truth, is tantamount to freedom, because we'll make people free, we'll free their mind, we'll make them see what is happening, we'll make them understand what is happening. Now that you want to silence her, it means that there's something hiding. Daniel says he claimed only 4 million voted out of almost 26 million who registered to vote, even if it is only 500, even if it is only 500K that came out to vote. Why should anybody vote? Because you said you have everything to stop the election. which means that if many people have refused to come out to vote, then the job is easier for you. The weapons and everything you have would have scared the other people inside again, and then you would have engaged the zoo military, as you said, because they were already on the land, and you said you have everything to stop them. You have everything to stop. How? Okay, what kind of propaganda? What do you call that propaganda? That is evil manipulation in the highest order. Manipulative propaganda. Manipulative propaganda deceives your people, deceives yourself, deceives the enemy, does not deceive the enemy. Because what manipulative propaganda does is that your enemy know you and know your approach. Did you know? Let me tell you something. Did you know that, is it Britain you are telling all, you bring one camera and you bring one gunship, you position the gunship, use a shield to block it so that it will look like there are so many other things, compartment there, and then you put some few men, they wear masks, and then you put it there, and you take a camera from a phone and video them, and then they now begin to talk somehow, talk tough, and then you video it and put it on social media. Is it Britain that you want to play all those things? Britain that you want to use that as propaganda on? We know it is not Britain now, because Britain cannot be deceived by those kind of things. They have seen so many of those stuff from Boko Haram. Boko Haram will come with some ammunition and all of that, so many things, and will position themselves and kill their victims in their presence, cut their necks. Didn't America come with their men to Sambisa Forest to pick their man? They came with the US Marines. They came into Sambisa Forest, took their man that was kidnapped by Boko Haram, and took him away and killed all the people who kidnapped them. In spite of all those bragado they are doing on social media, they will come and show themselves, show their chain bullets and all of that, show the magazine, show everything and all of that. Yet the US, because they know that all these things are just to manipulate their people to get more money. They know all of that. They know it. They know what you're doing. So they came with their Marines and they took their man who was kidnapped. And they left. They killed the Boko Haram people. Is it the same people like Britain, like Britain and all of their intelligence and all of that, that you want to position one gun machine, and then you just put some few men, and then you are trying to deceive the people who don't have knowledge about all of this stuff. The people you are trying to deceive are the gullible Biafrans. People like that. That is why you position somebody else to give you $1,500 yesterday to look like you are making money, like people are contributing. Propaganda, deceiving your people. You call that propaganda. Any propaganda that deceives your people is an act of treason and wickedness. It's evil, and you will suffer the consequence. You will suffer the consequence. Look at how God delivered Israel, made the footstep of the people sound like a mighty, that is mighty propaganda. That is real propaganda. The propaganda worked against the enemies, not against the people. There will be no election in Biafra land is as clear as it is. There will be no election in Biafra land. Nothing less, nothing more. So don't come and tell me that at least 70% success. What does that mean? No election means no election. No election means no election. So as long as you couldn't stop the election by what you said, and those are the words you gave, as long as you didn't keep to that, and you couldn't stop the election, it simply means that you lied to the people. Because if after the election, suddenly you are telling me you are opening offices here, it simply means that you have diverted funds. That is corruption. You don't know? When you as a government when the government tells you that they are raising funds to build roads, and then before you know it, they say they use the funds to build stadium. You don't know it's diversion of funds. It's stadium now. Since it's stadium, it's part of it. At least he used the money to build stadium. You are stupid. That means you don't even know what you want. You don't even know what you want in it. Once you say this fund is for something and it's been contributed for that thing, it must achieve that thing. If you don't achieve that thing, you must tell the people why you didn't achieve that thing. Because the election was strategic. Stopping the election was strategic. It would have solved all these problems. We would not need to have liaison offices. We would not need to have Biafra headquarters or Biafra government in exile. We would not need to have all of this nonsense, because stopping the election automatically brings Biafra to the fore and opens up the opportunity for us to have a referendum, because United Nations will call for it. Because once there's no presidency and no election conducted in Biafra land, automatically you have already called for referendum. Automatically. Because wherever they dance, your men on the ground will make sure that nothing like that happens. Nothing like election happens. And then the only option is to call for a referendum. Then by then you will not waste money on liaison offices. You will not need to waste money to talk about them. All this stuff which you didn't do anyways, because we know there are no liaison offices anywhere which you paid for. Just go and decorate somebody's office somewhere. Say, brother, please, let's use your office and let's use your place. Let's just decorate it so that we can now showcase it. Use camera, showcase it, and then later they scatter everything. Take everything, all the things you have, pictures you have put on the frame, all the frame and all of that. You take them off again tomorrow. If anybody talks again tomorrow, you go and position them again, and then you snap it again. Show us your everyday meeting going on in those places. That's when we know that you have an office. Office is not for show business. It's not to show people on camera and then it goes. You show us activities. This is the time. And what is the need for those liaison offices and those headquarters and all of those stuff you're talking about, when you should have stopped an election and then the government will be in Biafra land? Because by then the men would have secured Biafra land, because you have stopped the election. Then the resources used in putting in those countries that you are in, saying you are spending money in there, the resources contributed that Biafrans are contributing in that land that would have come to Biafra land, would have been able to, you would have sent it to Biafra land to build, to invest in the government in Biafra land, not spending the resources in those lands again, enriching them more. These are the things we are saying. These are the things we are talking about. I'm going to continue this maybe tomorrow. I think hopefully by tomorrow, I'm going to give more information on this. I'm going to come more on this narrative and talk more on this issue of propaganda. And at the same time, talk more on this, that call, telling Madam Barbara, Evangelist Barbara, not to talk about Simon again. You see, what Simon is doing is propaganda. You need propaganda. You are lying to your people. You see how they lie. You see how they lie. There are so many things I will point out from that conversation. You will know that these people know that this guy is lying, but yet they say, let's just allow it. All we need is Biafra. How can you get Biafra when you are using the tool of lies? It's not possible. It's not possible. How would you get it? Unless you are saying Mazen Namdekan is lying. That's what they're saying. Automatically, that's what he's saying. Because when she talked about Mazen Namdekan, said, we are going to get Biafra on truth. He said Mazen Namdekan to use propaganda. So you mean that what you mean is that lies is what we need. All you need is, and when you're talking, that is what makes me believe that the struggle they are talking about is not about freedom. It's about sustaining their thieving program, their stealing program from Biafrans. Because when you don't tell Biafrans the truth, they will be deceived. They will be contributing more. He said that if Evangelist Barbara tells them the truth, it will hurt the struggle, because people will not contribute to Simon again and contribute to Azuka again. Why is he so concerned about contributing to Simon and Azuka rather than the truth being established? Because it is the truth that will give us freedom, which means they're not looking for freedom. They're only looking for an activity that will continue to bring funds. That's what they're looking for. Because if the truth will give us freedom, and you say somebody should shut up and not talk about the truth, just keep talking about Biafra. Just keep talking about. He was even telling her what to talk about. These people are funny. Thank you so much, everyone. I know that I've spoken at length and I've given you some briefs and opened your eyes to some stuff that you should know today. Please share this program on all your social media platforms. Let people hear this broadcast. People need to hear this broadcast, this particular broadcast. I know that I've said so many things that you need to let other people also hear. Please like it, like the video, and then share. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, just subscribe to the channel. We need to expand. We need to get all around to places where people will hear what we're saying, and people will definitely come to the terms with truth and all of that. And let me tell you, as much as few lepers were able to bring deliverance to inconsequential lepers, were able to bring deliverance in all of Israel, and within 24 hours there was abundance. Let me tell you, the truth we are preaching on this platform, and few of you are grabbing it. Once the few of us come together, and the much we can also reach out, the more people we can reach out and let them understand this truth, we come together, and we come together to face the reality on the auspices of the Accountability and Transparency Group, you will see how we're going to bring change, whole program of Biafra, and you will see how the people don't take for granted these little beginnings and all these talks we are doing and all these few. You say, hey, you see, we are the ones in control, we are the ones in charge, and you are just talking. Don't take for granted when truth rears its head, when truth comes all out and projects its head. Run if you are on the path of lies, because truth has everything it takes to subdue everything that is of lies. That's the truth. I want to appreciate you guys. Thank you, Ego. Thank you for everything. Thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you for everyone who is standing on the path of truth and those who have listened. I appreciate you guys, and please stay on the path of truth. We are going somewhere, and as Daniel said here too, we are getting there, even if we are few. And of course, he talked about even if we are few, and so we are getting there. Everybody will still come to the time of truth, and I want to assure you that we are here to stand for the truth. And all those calls that if you want, I know they can't call me anyways to tell me not to talk about anything again because they know I'm fierce. Every problem, ask people like Ego and other people. Every problem I've had with anybody on this Biafra project is about truth, because I'll say this thing is not part of the truth. Everybody I've had issues with in Biafra project, ask them, what has this person done? Because he said the truth. Because he said, no, this cannot fly. It's not possible. That's the only problem. That's the only thing. I'll talk more on this later tomorrow when I come online. Tomorrow is the mind surgery show. I think that mind surgery show is very important. I have to hold that program tomorrow because I want to talk to your mind. I want to get you to begin to, rethink the way you reason, because Mazin and Begana have talked much about reasoning, but we need to also have some facts. Continue to say this on behalf of Mazin and Begana. There are some things we need to reason out. And I want to assure you that it is time for you to begin to reason, so that you look at things around you and know when you're being lied on, lied to, and all of that. Because there's a difference between being lied on and being lied to. So just understand that. But let me tell you something as I end this program. Propaganda and manipulation, there's a thin line between the two. And if you want to know how propaganda works, then understand the story I gave you. Tomorrow I'm going to give you that part of the scripture where that story is. I think it's 2 Kings chapter. I can't remember the chapter now. I'll give you where that scripture is so that you go and read it and know that when God introduced that propaganda, the feet of the lepers hunted and was a hurt to the enemies, not to the people. So whenever you are doing some stuff and it's hurting the people, know that it's not the propaganda. It's actually you. In fact, it's either you're working for the enemies or you are capitalizing on the foolishness of the people to kill them and to steal from them. Thank you all. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and stay safe this week. God will prosper you and bless you and give you your heart desires as you keep believing in Him and trusting in Him. Chukwuka is on your side. Please keep fit, be sure, be secure, stand on the path of truth, stay on the path of truth. Make sure you're not manipulated and deceived by liars and all of that, and make sure you hold on to truth. Don't let anything distract you. Whatever they say, just point to the truth. This is the truth, and all of that. Thank you so much, all. I appreciate you guys. God bless you. Very good. Let this week be successful. Tomorrow we'll see you again, 5 p.m. Biafra time. Thank you so much. I love you all. I appreciate you. God bless you. Very good.